Okay. What's up?
So
How's it going?
it's going pretty interesting
You know what?
with the Powar residents.
Yeah, we're in Richmond right now. We're
Richmond.
in BC. I'm excited. This is
Yeah.
rare. I don't think you've ever been to my house or hung out with.
I haven't been here, but I know an episode of this where this was shot here.
Shout out to Des Shout out to
Jinder Twal.
Baljinder Atwal.
He shot it. He was here shooting for his
Yeah.
show.
We're in April though, so like the vibes are a little bit more dim and grim. And then once July hits, like it's not late. It's late blooming. It's late blooming. And speaking of,
Yeah.
we got season 2 out.
Season 2 is out, on the way out.
Season 2, it's coming out
little by little.
We got 1 and 2 out.
Yeah.
3 and 4 are out tonight at midnight.
As we're talking.
So as we're talking, so this is gonna come out a little bit later. So who knows? Like maybe
it's probably all out by then. Huh?
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, probably. Well, it's all out, so you should binge it. And season 1's are actually all out.
Yeah.
So you should binge it. And the cool thing about season 2 is that
you're a writer on it. Yeah, let's go. Link off TV.
Yeah, no, it's your first TV show, but it's your second season.
Second season, yeah.
And I feel like that first season that you had, like, much of a learning curve for you.
Yeah.
But do you feel like second season, you knew what you were going into and it was going to be a different game? Or do you feel like it was also just as much of a learning curve?
I think it was a learning curve in different ways. Like the first season, it's like a tutorial. You're just learning how to make a show because you never know what's next. You don't know what people are, what their jobs are. I'm like, what's the first AD? What's a trailer AD? Like, I don't know any of these things. And then
like literal terminology.
Like literal terminology, what people do, what their jobs are. I had no idea. I was learning as I go how to deliver, how to shoot, what the schedule looks like, what the board looks like, how they break it down. Like, so all that I felt like I was learning. And I felt like I was still learning some of that this season as well. But this season was like different. I think it was more like stepping into a leadership role and having to like people manage a lot. I feel like that was like the big thing that I had to learn this season was like how to
be a leader?
Yeah, how to be a leader, how to like manage people, emotions, and
because last season you didn't have to do that.
I don't know. I felt like
because this season you direct 2 episodes.
Yeah, directing also was another huge thing I had to do.
And I feel like when you think of like making a show, you think like the director is like the leader, is that person. But in fact, like there's the showrunner. There's so many other roles that I feel like if you're not a part of the TV world, you don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
And even entering this season, I had no idea like the role that I got, and I'm so privileged and happy to be, but like story editor, I had no idea was even like a thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you're in the writer's room, like you're going to be writing an episode. But it's actually, you got to work your way and like show that you're even worth it to be an episode writer. Yeah. But story editor is kind of like the person who is keeping true to like the continuity, understanding if the story arc is making sense.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were season 1, you weren't directing.
I wasn't directing, but I had a pretty big hand in like some specific shots that I really wanted to be a certain way. Like I feel like a lot of stuff in like episode 8, the final scene, like the fight scene, and like specific like Neil Gurdwara scene. There's like certain things that I wanted to be shot.
There were certain things that you could tell was you, because I'd be watching it and I'd be like, oh, that's Jus. That's Jus right there. The dialogue, obviously you were writing it, but like the vibe of like Jus Reign old videos came out in spritzes, and you're like, oh, I get that dose that I've been craving. And I feel like those directors, like that was your voice. So you obviously
I think you don't have time to like on YouTube I could put like my imprint on everything. I felt like here I could only do as much as I could, and then I had to like give some like creative freedom to like other writers or the director or like whoever else was on the creative, like whether it be wardrobe, costume, stuff like that. So I was like, I did as much as I could, but then I just couldn't do 100%. Obviously in the first season, because I was like actively learning how to make a show. I felt like I had a little better grasp from having an imprint of like, oh yeah, this is like his style this season, because I like learned a lot on how to do stuff last season. Even like I feel probably the episodes I directed are more like might feel more like me in some sense. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I saw the one.
Yeah.
Episode 3.
Yeah, and also, but Peter also brings like such cool, like, directorial vibes to the show as well. Like one of my favorite shot episodes is 4 this season, and also 7. They're like really, really cool. Yeah, but I mean, you know, you're just learning. You can do you can only do as much as you can, and then the rest you kind of have to like trust people to on your team to be a part of that. And then, but now it's just like, okay, cool, like who like really gets the show, who can like really uplift it, and it's like empowering those people as well.
Did it feel hard to let people in and like take control in ways? Because I feel like obviously your YouTube vibe was like you were doing everything.
Yeah.
Obviously you have a team.
Yeah.
But like it was your decision and like it was just his way. But like this is like so much more of a machine behind it. And like there are rules, especially with Canadian television. There's like a lot of things you have to make it through. So it's like when you allow people in to like your baby, the show, it's like, were you cool with that? Did you feel like you trusted them right away, or were you skeptical?
It was definitely scary at first. I think, yeah, you just want to make sure everybody like gets the vision and like, but the writers' room was like great. Everybody in it was like understood like what the show is, what we're trying to make.
Season 1 or season 2 or both?
Both, yeah. But like at the same time, like you can only do and like try to control as much as you can. The other stuff is there's just so much going on. They kind of have to like just trust and like let go and be like, okay, like these are like other people's voices and other people's input, but it'll like work in this world. I have to just trust that it'll work in this world in some way to like tie in together. But there's like certain things I really had to fight for, like cast, who was gonna get cast. Certain episodes that I was like very particular. I'm like, yo, I want it to be written this way. This is how it has to feel. Certain scenes, I was like, it has to be written this way. This is how I feel in both season 1 and season 2.
Can you give us an example?
Like in this season, like, you know, episode 3 is like very specific. I'm like, this is what I want this episode to feel like and look like, and I tried to capture it as best as I could. Episode 6 feels like that, the international student episode. Episode 7, which is an episode that takes place at a cottage the whole time. And that's like a very specific, I'm like, I wanted the dialogue to feel
I
like
remember
this.
the writer's room. Like it was, when we were working together in other moments, I felt like it was a collaborative sense. And like we could bring our ideas, our anecdotes, and we could talk about like, oh, I experienced this, and like, what did you experience? And we can challenge each other on like what feels the most real.
Yeah.
But then when you came in with like, yeah, the cottage episode, it was like, you came in so well prepared that it was like so exciting to see as your friend and like a collaborator that like you got the reins, no pun intended, but like you were like, oh, we're going this way, which is a nice feeling as like someone who's not necessarily sitting in the back seat, but like this is my first time in it, so I feel like I want you to like show me a little bit because this is your second season. You've done all this stuff. You've created this world of the Jus Reign land. Like people love you for this, and so it's like, oh, it was so fun to see you power through and be like, oh, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
This is how I want it, and then like kind of letting the layers build and still seeing your vision intact.
Yeah.
And like I haven't seen that episode yet.
Yeah.
But by this time we probably have seen that episode. But I'm wondering, like, does it feel like it was intact when you were like, I took charge and like it came out the way I wanted it because I was so adamant on that?
For sure. I feel like, yeah, there's specific episodes and specific scenes that felt like that. 7, I think, because that episode, there's a lot of dialogue between these two men and two specific cultures are clashing. Like, I was like, we have to hit these points. Like, I need these points to be in. I need the dialogue to go like this. So I was pretty firm on like how that episode needed to go, I felt like. And just from learning on how to write, basically in season 1, it's like, okay, well, it's like, what's the best version of this episode considering the budget, time, and we only had 2 days to shoot that episode.
See, that's the crazy part is like budget and like logistics actually matters so much.
So much, because it
like
affects
how
everything.
you dictate your story.
Yeah, which sucks sometimes because you're like, oh man, like there's like the coolest version of this story in my head that I really want to do, but I can't because there's just no time and money to do it. So I have to like shrink it down, and like that's actually what happened with episode 1 last season. The pilot was way bigger and had way more elements and way more locations, and we had to like chop it back by like 50%, and it was the most painful process. Because like there's a whole like chunk of the episode that just takes place in the car as we're
Oh
driving.
my god, yeah, tell us the tea.
And it wasn't supposed to, it was only supposed to be like one part of that scene that was supposed to be in the car. And then the rest was supposed to be like outside of a TD bank. Then the other thing was supposed to be like at this like Brampton trap house, which was the scammer headquarters. I'm like totally forgetting his mystery.
Because the scammer headquarters ended up being like the behind the.
Yeah, and ended up being a phone call, and it was just like a phone call. Yeah. But we were actually supposed to go there, and then you were supposed to see like this Brampton house and like a bunch of like Acuras and Hondas parked outside and Toyotas parked outside, and you just go inside, and it was like this whole bit, like it was like there's gonna be a Japanese water fountain, and it's gonna be very corporate in this place. Like, please take a seat, and then you go in. Like, there's gonna be like employee of the month, scam. Yeah, they're legit. I'm like, yo, they're making money. They're organized. Yeah. But we had to cut all that and just keep it like on the phone. And then there was a scene where we were gonna be outside of like a TD bank. I was like taking out money, complaining, and like felt like it was gonna be in a plaza. I felt like it was gonna be Brampton. Couldn't do that. And so there's a lot of, and then the Gurdwara stuff was supposed to be switched. Chippy, when we go pick up Chippy,
from our cousin's party.
We were gonna be at the party in the banquet hall.
Oh yeah,
and it was gonna be like half empty. There's gonna be like a drunk uncle singing like the Bollywood karaoke machine, and everyone was gonna be bored. And that's where we would have met Sunny. And then we had to like chop all that, move it to Gurdwara, because like that was gonna be the scene. So it's just like so much stuff like gets lost, and like nobody will know. Yeah. The version of, maybe I'll like release it one day online, like the actual pilot that I had written and how I wanted it to be.
So would you shoot that pilot then? Like,
dude,
hypothetically, like if you were to do it, because you don't have those shots.
Maybe one day I'll AI it.
Yeah, honestly.
Do you feel
like when you watch stuff, because now I feel like as I stepped into the writer's room, like I'll watch something and I'll be like, oh, this was like a budget cut. Like
for sure.
They had to do that because they had to. Like
for sure.
You're like, oh, that movie was just in one location
the
whole time. Like I recently watched, well, not recently, but like, what's her name? Anna Kendrick. Yeah. She did that movie. She directed it herself. It was about, I think it was on Netflix. It was about the killer on the game show. I don't know if you watched it.
Oh, no, I haven't seen it.
She like donated all the proceeds to
the killer?
No, the women who like get killed or something. I don't know what the organization is. Yeah. But that she did it on her own, and it was a low budget. And like I could see, it was like parking lot, game show area, and then maybe like a diner, and then everything else is like phone calls, and even like the Colin Farrell movie, I think it's him. Or Jake Gyllenhaal, where he's like in the phone booth. And then no, I don't know. I think I'm mixing up movies because there was one where he's like doing some like desk work. And I'm like, oh, I thought this was just such a good idea, but it's probably because of budget.
Sometimes it is just a good idea. Like the Room or whatever, like movies like that.
Wait,
like,
which one's The Room?
It's like where the mother and daughter are trapped in the room.
Oh, I never saw that, but I seen it and I was like, I don't want to watch that. It seems too fucking grim.
So it's like sometimes it is just an idea, and then sometimes it's budget you got to cut, and then sometimes it's just like both. The producer's like, well, I can produce this because it's just one location. Like producers love the less locations you have, the more. I think, but I was just like, I was watching shows, like I watch American shows. Like so that's like
we grew up like it's like we don't watch Canadian other than Degrassi.
Yeah.
And like YTV.
Trailer Park Boys. But that also that's a Trailer Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Canadian fully, right? Like the writers, everybody's.
I think they shot in Nova Scotia.
Who put that on? Like Showcase? It was on
Showcase. Yeah, it was on Showcase.
Yeah.
I think so.
Because Trailer Park Boys is all in the trailer park.
Yeah. But that show was just like funny to me because I was like, I go to school with guys like this.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah, I watched American show. Yeah,
that Guelph energy is like
mad
Halifax. Or wait, because is it Halifax and Nova Scotia? Halifax is the capital of Nova Scotia, but the show takes place in Nova Scotia. I don't remember.
The show's supposed to be set in some Canadian trailer park.
It's in Nova Scotia.
But they shoot it there, I think, because budget.
Yeah. Well, I also feel like with this late bloomer, and then we have Office Movers now, and then even Kim's Convenience was a moment, and then Trailer Park Boys. I'm like, Degrassi was huge. Yeah. It's like these are the shows for Canadian television that are going to shape and like bring us to the level that at least feel like we're in the same conversation, because at the same time that world exists, and then people are like, oh, but I want to watch this show, and it's like the best American shows. If we talk about the music world, like the GOATs come from Canada. We have like the biggest things, and I feel like we get underrepresented. Like I don't think people realize like how much talent is in Canada.
Yeah.
And like I'm surprised that also the way Canadians, and I don't know if this is like mean of me to say, but like the way Canadians like want to present their art feels like they also see a ceiling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but we have so much talent here. And like, isn't it so obvious with like, I know it's music related, but like Celine Dion, Drake, with The Weeknd. I had to say Celine first because she's like OG. Like fucking my lady. Sarah McLachlan, Justin Bieber. Like these people are goats, and it's like, why don't we? And like we have fun actors, Jim Carrey, Mike Myers. Who else? We got Ryan Gosling. We got Rachel McAdams. The Notebook would not exist without Canadians. What kind of roles do you like aspire to eventually tap into now that you've started this journey?
I don't know. Like
I always comedic face.
I am a comedic face, but I always want to like any role that I want to do. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna write it. Like I'm probably just gonna write the script and write it and then do it. Like that's what I feel like is for the most part like where my trajectory is heading. Or I'll like direct it and have other people act in it, or both. Like do both. But I would love to work with other. Like I feel like I don't know, just like working with some dope. Like I would love to do a Safdie's Brothers movie, you know? Like that would be so.
There's so many people like GOAT list of working with. Like if I have no boundaries or like no hindrances where you're like, oh, that's not real. That's not gonna happen. Like who are your top Safdie brothers?
Like just playing an unhinged character.
Dude, yeah.
Would be incredible. Like when I watched Good Time, and first of all, I only knew Robert Pattinson from like. You haven't seen it? I only saw Robert Pattinson from like.
But I've been told.
Twilight. I don't know nothing. Yeah, and he was the guy from Harry Potter too. But
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson was in Good Time. Yeah.
I called him Robin Pattinson.
I'm like a huge Robert Pattinson fan. Like
he was not in Harry Potter.
Yeah, he was. He was Cedric Diggory.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm such a capper. I don't even like Harry Potter. I'm Team Lord of the Rings, even though we don't have to pick a side.
There's no side. I like both.
Yeah.
And I read.
But you were saying so.
Yeah, I don't know. They just have like such unhinged characters and. The amount of anxiety you have watching. Ari Aster is another guy I would like.
Who's that?
He just did Beau is Afraid, I think.
I feel like I know that title, but is that with Joaquin Phoenix?
Joaquin Phoenix, bro, that movie.
Bro, Joaquin Phoenix?
Dude, Joaquin Phoenix. Bro, that movie was the most.
I need to watch.
Toughest watch.
I need to walking.
It was like we in the show we have like anxiety daydreams. The whole movie's an anxiety daydream.
I love the anxiety daydreams.
Yeah, but that movie's terrifying. I feel like who else? Yorgos, I'd love to work with.
Now you're gonna have to you're gonna have to tailor these with me, telling me what movies I've done, because I low key like feel.
Who directed Lighthouse? I'm forgetting his name.
I don't even.
Same guy that did The Witch.
Oh, The Witch, like the movie that like.
Yeah.
The ladies are in the forest in the
yeah,
back.
Yeah. Tarantino, bro?
Tarantino?
Shit, man. That's a dream.
But Safdie Brothers, did you watch The Curse? The Curse with
I haven't
Nathan
seen it yet.
Fielder.
No, I haven't seen it. I don't know where to watch it. Is it on like
HBO?
It's on Paramount or something, isn't it?
See, I'm in America, so like I have all the streaming. I have Disney Plus.
You gotta get
Hulu.
it.
I buy it all because I'm a TV lover. And I used to hate it. I used to be like
Nathan Fielder's in.
Yeah, also. Nathan Fielder.
He's
who's from
God
here.
Legend. From here.
We
yeah.
went to the same university.
Dude, that's crazy.
So his intro to fucking Nathan For You, he's like the top at the business school. I'm like, that's you, Vic.
Dude, he's
the GOAT. You gotta link with him.
I was in a writing room for my project in 2017.
What was that? Like for Late Bloomer?
No, it wasn't Late Bloomer. It was another thing that was in development, but it never got made. It was for YouTube Red. And then they went bankrupt, and then just the project kind of flopped. I still want to make it one day, but the early version of it, I was writing at Absolutely Studios, Tim and Eric Studios in LA.
That's big.
Yeah, it was crazy. We were developing that. But the writing room, when I went in, like our writing room was, I guess, like, okay, this is another show. I finished their writing room, so you guys go in and you clean it up. I went. It was Nathan For You's writing room, so I saw all like the cue cards, I was like, yo.
Awesome and strange, and I love it. Like,
yeah, we were writing in that room. I was just like, this is insane. I'm writing in Nathan For You's office. I'm writing at Tim and Eric's office. I was healing in the office all the time. Trip. Couldn't make eye contact. Couldn't say anything.
Yeah, what is that like? They just let people go work in their spaces?
No, well, it was like the project that I was doing. Like they signed on to develop it, so I was like there, and with Ahmed Weinberg, who plays Neil.
Because I remember back, this was 2017.
2017, yeah.
I remember you coming to LA to visit, and I was there in 2019, and you mentioned a friend that you like write with who's a comedian, and that's Ahmed.
Ahmed, yeah.
Yeah, that's so wild and so cool that you have these relationships that you build, and they're real. They're not like, oh, I'm just friends with you because of blah, blah, blah. And then you find the right spaces to put, like, you're such a connector. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
what the word is. I don't have good English.
It's true. One time I was.
feel like I have ESL,
Yeah.
but I'm born in Canada.
I was like sitting back one time. I was like, all the boys or everybody was hanging out, and I was like, yo, everybody met
Like a high
each other hiking through. I was like, yo, through me, like,
yeah,
because I became friends with them, and then I was like,
and your
I became
taste
good
is
friends.
it's so eclectic.
Everyone's like on a spectrum,
Yeah.
but then we're all on the same.
There's like continuous like feeling where you're like, oh, actually I vibe with this person because of that, and then you find out that like, oh, because you like Jus, like you automatically get a cosign. Like,
Yeah.
if you introduce me to somebody and you're like, they're good, I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of put them in the I trust.
But I also feel like that with my friends too. If they have people that they're like, yo, they're good, I'm like, cool, I trust.
Yeah, and it's like Ahmed is a character that you fought for to get onto the show because with Canadian television, there's so many like regulations.
Well, he reminded me so much of my real cousin, Paul,
Mm.
who was raised in Guelph. He's much older than me. I just like aged him down to my age, but he's like half white, and his dad was half Kashmiri Sikh, so very light skinned. So he was like very
So
white.
he actually looks
as
white.
Yeah. I never explicitly say in the show what he is.
Because people are like, what? This doesn't make sense, kind of like.
Yeah,
And even
and
I was like, what? But then
know.
I know that about your cousin and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, that makes sense. But I've never seen your cousin.
Yeah, I mean,
Ahmed looks white.
for sure, a lot of like mixed people
Yeah.
look
kind of mixed.
Yeah. But my cousins didn't. They looked like purely white passing, and so that's my experience. But I also didn't explicitly say what Ahmed and what Neil in the show is. Like, we don't ever say if he's actually the son.
You feel like you need to?
No, I don't need to. So I'm like, let people like interpret it how they want. He could be mixed. He could be adopted. He could be whatever. Like, it's fine. Whatever you want to interpret it as, like, you do that. Whatever works for you, you do that.
You're doing a show that's really new to mainstream audiences. You're talking about Sikhism, Punjabi Canadians. You're talking about the South Asian experience in general, the diaspora. There's religion that like people don't even know about Sikhism. Like they're like, what is that? And I explain people when I meet them like, oh, that's this, especially in LA. No one knows. It's like, how much of the work are you willing to do to explain, and how much of the work are you willing to just let it be?
I think the best way to learn sometimes is just like letting it be and watching. Like, I don't know. I feel like you don't need to over explain so much especially in television. Like, if it just feels real and like the characters, whatever they're talking about, like you'll pick up on it. You'll like, everybody's smart. Like, you'll pick up on like what the vibe is and what they're talking about. And so I don't think you need to overly explain like, this is that, and this is this, and this is that. It's just like, no, like, oh shit, I have to go to this thing. Oh man, it's so annoying because I have like.
But sometimes you kind of need to explain a little bit. I feel like.
I guess so, but I think also within context, when you show it too, then people kind of get a sense of it as well. I feel like in the first episode, like in Nudes, when my character's like Gurdwara, he's complaining, he's like, oh man, another group rub. Like, we have so many group rubs. Like, what? We have 10 groups, or what? 10 group rubs and this and that. It's like, that was like written in a way where it's like, oh, the character is complaining about like how many group rubs there are, but at the same time, I'm educating people about like, okay, they have 10 gurus, they have a group group, they celebrate this with the Gurdwara, it's a big thing. But I wasn't like, I have to go to Gurdwara because it's one of our gurus and we have 10 and we have to go and celebrate this auspicious day. And it's like, no, it's like the guy's complaining that he has to be there and he's like ranting about it.
And by the
way, like, then we have Vaisakhi, then we have Diwali, and I'm explaining all of the days and all of like the celebrations that we have in our community. But we did it in a way where it's like, it's
there
funny,
are a lot
real.
Of group rubs.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to like explain what it is.
But I mean, that's an example. It's like, you're not educating by being preachy or being like, this is what my culture is. It's like, no, they're just like existing in the world, and like, he's just complaining about something, but through the act of complaining, he's literally educating like, oh, this is what, this thing is that we're going to in the Gurdwara. And I was like, stuff like that is cool to me, because I'm like, oh, it's like part of the story, it's part of the character, it's real. And then also I'm getting schooled in some interesting way.
In real life, when I am like existing as a youngest sibling, and you have, two brothers, so you're not just like the only child energy, where I've met people who have lived the only child life. The people who have siblings, we explain literally like IRL what we're doing. Like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, I'm gonna get food. And then, like, I've hung out with people who are only childs, and they fucking just leave the room. They just leave the room. And I'm like, that's what I want to see on stage. Like, that's what I want to see on screen. But I do the oversharing and then putting in the direction in the script, because I don't know what that is. It just reminded me of that, because it's like, it's real, because I will get up and be like, I gotta go to the bathroom. That's a real moment that you could write in a script. But at the same time, that's just some like sibling energy where we
ramblers. Siblings are ramblers. If you have siblings, you're just rambling.
Yeah.
Just big yappers.
You're fighting
man.
for the attention.
Yeah.
How much of just me Datta's character is like your actual life? Like, I know you personally, but there's also some decisions you've made in the storyline, your choice of like relationship for your character, her family, the choice of her being Christian. Like, where are you pulling this from? Like,
well, a lot of it, no, I mean, a lot of it is, from like real relationships or real people in my life that I've like had. And so I am borrowing like a lot from that. And then I think a lot sometimes is also just like collective experience of like people or like something interesting I want to explore. Like I think like Christianity is Punjab is like such an interesting phenomenon and topic, and where it is now and how it came in.
Talk about it more, like why you think it's interesting. Because I don't really know too many Christian Punjabis. Really, until we did the show, I was like, oh, like this is.
I didn't either until I met some in real life and may or may not have dated one in real life. So like,
off the record.
So the lawyers are watching. You can't talk too much. But yeah, I don't know. I just like, I think it's just like, it was so interesting because for me, like I'm been in this like phase where we all are as artists. We're like, we're like deconstructing colonization always, through like therapy or through art or through coming to understanding of our culture and traditions through like a new lens, like a lens that hasn't been tainted, right? And so when we're always doing that, we're questioning like where these things came from and why these things came into our culture and a part of it. And I think like, obviously British colonization had like a stronghold in India for so long, and so Christianity also had a way in. And so I think, it's a delicate balance because I'm not like trying to diss anybody, but at the same time, I'm also like, I also want to be able to like dissect what happened in our culture. Like this is like the Eastern way of thinking and spirituality and culture is so much more different than like the Western or Abrahamic way of thinking and culture. And so that dichotomy is like, dichotomies are just interesting to me. The whole show is just always looking at dichotomies. So I think that's just like very interesting to me. So having this character that is pretty much has the same culture, but the difference is like their religion is different. And as you see in this series, their class status is a little different, and how they kind of act and react to certain topics.
I'm always a fan of relationships in shows and movies that showcase like the differences, but not necessarily being like a person of color and a white person. And I feel like we see that a lot. And everyone kind of gives Mindy Kaling or like Kumail or Aziz shit for that exact thing. And like my personal experience is like, I've never been in a long-term relationship with a white person. It's always been like another culture, but a person of color. And I've just been begging to see like just the perspective of like, there's so much like nuances that come with even someone that may look like you, but if they're not, and then there's all these like weird previous like thought process that like your parents uphold, that you're like, oh well, this first Punjabi, Sikh, like there's all this like caste system like stuff that goes into it. So you could even have like two Indian people in a show or a movie that are in love, and they're like, oh, but this person isn't of that. And like for me, that's still interesting to see because we get to have those conversations. Being somebody who cares about their culture, and the culture is carried deeply in the heart of like your family, and you respect your family, and yet you see maybe like your love might not be a person that they agree with, but you still want to please them, or not even please, but like you want them to be happy with the decisions you make in life, and that's not always the case. And I feel like I just constantly feel like this invisible like lasso on me that's like my parents pulling, being like, and then I slightly believe also like it would be nice to make them happy. It would be nice to not be this girl who wants to be a crazy outspoken girl who's like, my titties, my ass, like, but it's like, why do I even want to do that? And I think it's because they told me they told me you can't, and I'm like that person. I don't even know there was no question here. I was just
that just made me think about episode 1 of this season.
and I was actually gonna bring it up.
Oh man, yeah, I know. It's
So episode 1 of this season.
yeah.
There's
There's
episode 1 of the previous season. We see his butt, and that was a big
which
deal.
technically was a big deal. I was more scared to put that out. I thought that would be worse.
Straight up, like what was it? Like 3
Straight up
minutes in?
nude. Yeah, I
Your
was
ass
like,
is
my
out?
ass is out. I'm like, this is bad. And then
No butt knee scars.
no butt knee scars. Luckily, had some back knee. It's all good.
Back knee.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I got a little.
Yeah, but then in that episode you go through like my parents finding out, then freaking out, then the news and the Punjabi media, then the grunty talking about it. It's like the Dana Baba talking about it. It's like I like lived through that fear and that shame of like, because even when I wrote nudes, I was like, what's the worst thing that could happen to me?
Is it your nudes?
At that time when I wrote it, I was like, what's the worst thing that happened to me? Like probably this.
And when did you write that? Like
2018.
Yeah, that's a long time
Yeah,
ago.
yeah. So I was like, that's the worst thing that could happen to me right now. And then I was like, I'm just gonna write the worst thing and started off the show with that. And then I just built out like all my worst fears and anxiety into the episode. Then I put it out there, and I felt like I kind of let go of that fear. I just didn't care anymore. So then when I did episode 2 of this season,
episode 1,
episode 1
season
of
2,
season 2,
yeah,
it's obviously there's a lot of intimacy,
Yeah.
but
he's trying to smash, and she's trying to smash.
yeah, but like I still felt like it was done tastefully,
so done.
tame.
Okay, like let's be real. Like, were you actually fucking? I mean, rewind.
No.
Let's be real. Were you actually like doing it in the?
No, we still had our clothes on. Like everything was, we're still dressed.
I was like, you guys were kind of just like dry humping and like.
Yeah.
But it wasn't actually like, cause like.
No, we had an intimacy coordinator doing the
shout out Ricky
choreography.
Madison.
Yeah. And so all that, and I think I just got so lost in the sauce. You know, you
And
put
you
it.
don't care at that point.
You don't care at that point. You're just like editing it. You're watching it a
make
million
the
times.
best show.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm just trying to make the most truthful, authentic show, and I'm like, I don't think this is like so shocking or bad, because we're this generation, and like, yeah, we have relationships to do these things.
It's like half my life was a lie for so long. It's still a lie. Oh, I hate that.
Still, yeah.
I hate that. Being a Desi girl, being a Desi boy, being a Desi Canadian who like cares about their family and doesn't want to like run away and be like, fuck y'all. Half your life is probably a lie.
Still a lie. And I thought,
oh, I hate it.
I'm 35, and I was like, this show came out, and I was like, I didn't think.
Stressed.
Yeah, but I wasn't stressed because I was like, oh, like it's fine, like.
And also,
I didn't even think about it.
It's different.
It's in the room. It's in the room. You're making. You're creating. Yeah, like this is.
Empowerment.
Yeah, let's do it. Intimacy. We've been taboo. Yeah, man. It's like such a sexuality is such a taboo for us, and we're like, yo, let's destroy that, and like let's make it Taranum. She was saying that last night. She's like, why is violence so? It's true. Why is violence so normalized? Like you just like shoot somebody's head off, stab them. Bollywood's just like ripping people apart. But they never kiss. It's like
they touch fingers, run across the tree. They started making out, I think, recently.
Yeah,
even I felt weird. It's weird. Why do I feel weird? You know.
Why do we feel weird?
Because I am conditioned, and I also like. I feel weird when I'm with my parents. I don't feel weird when I'm by myself watching it, and I'm like, oh shit.
Dude, I lost my parents throughout the premiere, and I completely didn't even think about. Like I was more nervous in season 1 because I was like, they're gonna see my butt. This time I was like sitting in the audience.
You're like, ha, ha, ha.
And then like my
mom.
Making
Making out is kind of crazy, but it's not.
I know, but it's not though.
Blue or white.
Yeah, man, it's not like, and it's definitely, it's definitely been like an interesting thing for my parents. Like for my mom, I think she's like a little shook. She's a little bit shook. Yeah, she's shook, and I didn't see it coming, and I didn't mean for that to happen.
You underestimated
the chillness of my, because you know my parents. My parents are super chill and bored.
But they're chill to an extent, but at the same time, they still believe what they believe.
And they are for the most part.
You kind of got like the best box of crayons.
Yeah, so I thought I got that pass.
Parents, you're a dude.
Yeah.
Like they know that you have had relationships in the past.
Yeah,
like,
to some degree. I feel like when my mom saw that, she's like, "I didn't know you kiss." Like she was like, you know what I mean? Dude. Her world was like shaken, like upset, and I'm like, oh, so if people are still dealing with this, I'm still dealing with this.
You're
like,
kind of like making.
I'm on TV. Like I'm like, I feel like, we are artists. As artists, we're like the forward pushers. So like people would be like, oh yeah, like these guys.
Yeah, they're so cool. They're so bold.
So cool. They must have nothing. No, we're still. I'm still.
Dude, I'll have people literally come up to me and be like, oh my God, you posted that? Like, I could never. You're so brave. Dude. And I'm like, bitch, I fucking posted me in like a tank top. Like, I don't even post like thoughty ass shit. Like it's thoughty for me sometimes. And I know like my brother don't like seeing it. I hate that when my family follows me on Instagram. Like unfollow me.
I know.
Let me be like thirst trapping for free. Also, I don't even thirst trap like where I could. You know how many DMs I get being like, "Where's the OnlyFans?"
Yeah, jeez.
Not saying I would never, because that's just not. I'm not gonna spend time making content like that when I can barely get my
other content on
shit on. This is what happens when you want to push the culture.
Yeah, you have to.
You have to set yourself on fire.
Everything is scary.
You're currently going
I'm
through it right
currently
now.
on fire right now, and like,
and
I'm
you just gotta just set yourself on fire. You gotta you know, bring the light to the community, and that is your body on fire. Oh, I wish I could just be myself 100%, because who I am at 100% is so much cooler than me 50%.
For sure. Like, and this is why I feel like we just have to keep.
You have to keep setting yourself on fire.
Keep setting yourself on fire and keep making, because it's like, yeah, the only way we're going to be able to shift and change perspectives and cultures is through people just got to set themselves on fire, man.
Fucking on camera. No. But the truth is, yeah, you're her son, and like, even like second episode, no, is that the one where you guys wake up in the bed together?
Yeah.
And like your chest is out, you're nungy, and I'm like, but it's like, what do you think they did? There's also like sleeping in the same bed. It's like, okay, would you ever introduce a partner to your parents? No.
I have.
I might not know.
Yeah. No, I have.
And they're chill.
Yeah, they're chill. They like her.
What do they think you do? You guys just
They just think we hang out, watch a movie, and then we go home to our respective places. I don't know, man. Like, we've never had these conversations, so I just feel like it's like crazy exposure therapy to like just put it in front of their face. You're just like, look, like a mirror in front of their face, and like, I'm not even trying to do it. Like, I just think I'm just trying to. I don't want to not make art because I'm gonna like upset somebody.
That's the worst.
That's the worst, because I'm just like, what's the point? And my brother actually, Jagdeep, was like a true artist.
Shout out to
truest
Jagdeep, love
sense.
him. He's great.
Like, I go to him all the time and I'm like, yo, I don't know if I should do this. And he's like, don't let anybody dictate your art. If this is true to how you feel right now and what you want to express and what you want to create, and that moment passes and it was never made, like, that's the worst shame that could happen. And I truly believe that. I'm like, wherever you are in life and what you want to do, you should be able to express that and talk about it. And if later on it's like, that's not what you want to do, that's cool, that's growth. Like, fine. And then if it comes back around, people are in cycles, that's cool, that's growth, that's life. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like the things that we put so much shame on.
Shame and guilt is such a wild fucking thing that I hate when it gets poured onto me, or I do it to myself. It's hard not to.
We do it to ourselves so much, yeah.
It's okay. So with being a Punjabi girl, or like, you know, being a Punjabi Canadian, and I think you and I have very similar outlooks on life. Like, we care about our creativity. We care about our art. We care about who we are as our most authentic self. And I think we don't really change that according to who we are around. But at the same time, I think we care deeply about our roots and our family. And I feel like I'm always being pulled, like, how much of myself is okay for the world to see. And like, but I feel like I hold my family so close to my heart, and I just don't want to disappoint them. And then
you just love them. Like, I love my family. I love my brothers. I love my mom and dad. I never want to make my mom sad.
I never want
to upset them. I just want to make them like happy and proud. But you always want to do that. But then sometimes that contradicts the art you want to make
and who you are.
And who you are intrinsically. And like, that battle is like so tough sometimes, because you just want to explain to them like, hey, what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to create, and me being my authentic self, there's nothing bad about that. Even though we've been taught like so much shit that's like corrupted and polluted our minds to
I don't know,
our culture.
Like a negative outlook already. Me living my full truth isn't to make you upset, and I don't want you to feel like that, because that makes me sad that you think that I would operate on that level.
On that level, yeah.
But like, they don't know how to take it in. Also, they don't have like the tools, the time, the experience to like see the world from what we've had. Like, we're in this generation, we've grown up in Canada, we've had like multicultural relationships with people growing up, our peers and stuff like that. Like, they didn't experience that. I always think about like the mountaintop. Like, my mom and dad are on this peak and they see the world here. But however, what they've done for me, they've allowed me to climb to this peak.
Higher,
and they'll never see what I see. So if I can just come with empathy, because like, I used to have a lot of hate and anger towards them not understanding it. But now I'm just like, oh, they just weren't given the tools or the time.
Yeah. I think my parents were definitely like on a peak, and then just through me and my brothers like doing what we're doing and being bold and creating art and like doing this sometimes very scary stuff. Like my brother creates incredible artwork, some that has never seen the the public's light because it's like so bold and so out there that I'm like, if people think what I'm doing is bold, like my brother's doing like the way crazier, way bolder art. And so I think, but my parents have just like grown, like even like my family, a lot of people in my family have grown because like I just did all of this stuff like on YouTube. And so they had to like, I had to forcefully grow them. I had to forcefully expose them. And either they like met me there or they would just, you know, but then I think
they like
or they're
denied,
just, or they denied me.
mind out of sight.
Yeah, and they didn't deny me, and they decided to come along. So I feel like my parents have grown so much as humans, and that's why I didn't think episode one it wouldn't be an issue. But I was like, damn, no.
But it
not there yet.
surprises you.
It does surprise you. Caught me
It
off guard.
reminds, it brings you back to the moment that like, oh, this is like their first time living too, or like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. We would have been this exact same way if we were growing up in the generation the same thing.
yeah.
I look at my dad, I'm like, yo, this guy's just like my friend that just grew up in a
Like,
different time.
Born in like what? It was born in the 60s?
Like 60s or yeah, 60. I'm like, yo, you just different. Like it's just different. If you grew up in this generation with me, like you would have been different. It's just not the case.
My dad, I think he's so scared to look me up. I think he's scared to see me fucking on a stripper pole. But no, I think like one time he asked me, he's like, what do you mean you're playing a club at 11 p.m. on stage? Like, I know what he was thinking. Also, like, I heard that, like, his truck drivers were talking shit about me on the radio and was saying some stuff like, boss dikuri, blah, 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 in LA, she's doing this and that. And then my dad was like, what is she doing? And it's actually funny because my mom, it's always like the mom plays like the middleman. She's like, why don't you talk to her and ask her straight up? You raised her, like, trust who you raised. And instead of asking me, he went to YouTube and he typed in my name. And our podcast, Just Two Boys episode where you interviewed me, came up. And he watched it.
Yeah.
And thank fucking God I didn't say no dumb shit in that one. Even though I was lit out of my mind.
Yeah.
I was so lit that trip. But he was like, when I watched you talk, you were yourself, how you are in front of me. But you were with your friends and you talked about everything you like, but you also talked about your masi, you also talked about this, and it was.
He got to see you like the real you.
But he also was like, that's the real you that I see. Yeah. And he was like, oh, my daughter's not an idiot. She's not gonna do something dumb to disrespect mine, eh? Yeah. You know, like, you know, that's
I think
like
people are
a funny
genuinely
way to think about that, but
people are genuinely surprised by you, like that generation. But remember when you came to my house?
Yeah.
You met my dad first. You had like blonde hair. Yeah. You're just walking in sweats.
So I look like white girl.
Yeah.
You're like, who the fuck is this?
My dad walks in, my dad's like, who is this girl?
Also
and you sit
tired as fuck.
And you sat like there's everybody sitting there and you sat down right beside my dad on the couch and you're just like, hi uncle. Like you're just my dad's like, what? Who is this girl? Like what is going on? And then I think my dad just started like, what did he ask you? Like he just started asking you.
I think he asked me about.
Oh, like, why don't you live at home?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, because he was like, you're a woman, you're not married. Why aren't you living at home?
He wasn't grilling me, but he was definitely like checking me. He was just like, and he's like a passionate person. He's a smart man. He wants to have good conversation with your friends. I think he likes that. I think
he loves hanging out with my friends. Yeah. Anytime I bring him, he's like, wants to, He's like, my dad is young. My dad is like 23 again. Like he's just like, whatever age he had me, 27 or whatever, he's back to like
stamped in that time.
Yeah, and then when he raised us and now that we're older, he's back in that time now.
And then like for the most part, I think like you have your guy friends that come over, but then there's me and we came over for her birthday and he asked me like, why don't I live at home? And I think I also, this is another thing about me is like, I give off this energy that I'm so chill and I'm so kind of like, whatever. Yeah. But then when I really got to come down to it, I could fucking nail you down and like tell you the truth and also be articulate, be like spiritual with it, be just like confident and not sound like a 420 blaze it everyday girl, even though sometimes I look and sound like that. And I have my fun. I sound like, I talk like Twitter and he asked me a question, why don't I live at home? And I remember being so hungover and just and just being like, okay, and talking about it in a direction and clocking it as I was talking that, oh, question isn't about really why am I not living at home, like for what I would tell you. It's like from a father's perspective on some desi shit. And I was like, oh, I need to like harness this answer, and I tightened it and I I think I was talking about how like what it is to be the youngest sibling and not be given the chance to fully grow and spread your wings and actually be seen as the adult. And like, I'm not in my 20s anymore. I don't even want to say the exact age, but I'm in my 30s.
Yeah.
I don't want to be seen as a 30-year-old.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I have the mental capacity of one, which is what I like about aging.
Yeah.
And I said something about how, maybe you can refresh my memory because I clearly
Yeah,
forgot.
it was just like, yeah, if I'm being treated as like the nanny at home and I go home, I'm always gonna be like that, and I won't be able to like.
And I wanted to prove it to myself that I could do that. And I don't know, I said it so well.
My dad was floored.
He was
like, he did not expect that. He was
especially
like,
from a blonde girl.
Yeah, blonde Punjabi girl.
She wants to be a white girl. Get the fuck out of my house.
My dad was blown away, and my dad was just like, I like her.
Yeah, and then
he just became friends with you, just like hanging out.
I loved it.
My dad always checks in. He's like, "How's she doing? How's she?"
I
Like
love
he
that.
just like has so much respect for you.
When I saw him at the premiere in Toronto, I have now my new hair, and
did he recognize you?
Which is my old hair. He didn't at first, but I like went up to him because one thing I was taught, and I will say this as like an auntie, new generation doesn't do this of Desi culture. Like, say hi to your elders, say hi to the guests that come over. I see the younger generation, and they're just so like, I don't have capacity for it. And it's like, bitch, just fucking say hi. Say hi to the auntie that you don't even know that they're going to ask you, when are you going to come to my house? Or do you know who I am? Fucking hate that question. They're like, does he pata me corn? I don't know. Like, okay.
Yeah.
And then, or they'll be like, you're going to come to India with us? I remember that scared me as a kid.
What?
Like, and I'm like, no, I'm not coming. But I remember going up to your dad because I'm just like, oh, that's uncle. Like, I'm going to go say hi. And I walked up slowly, and your mom and dad don't really recognize me. And then I just look at him. Just did the stare, and he was like,
he's like, my friend.
I didn't even have to say much words. And he was like, I love your hair. And your mom was like, I love your hair.
Yeah, I did like that.
She really liked it compared to the other one.
Yeah.
And he was like, how are you? They were so stoked to see me. And then it was funny because after the episode of one being premiered, Make It Out happened, they saw me and they confided in me as if they like were like, you're gonna agree with me, right? Like, how was that episode? That was messed. Seeing you make out. And your dad even like made a funny face. He was like sticking out his tongue, being like, he didn't want to say making out. And he was just like, did you like that? And I was like, Uncle, you know, sometimes when you want to change the culture and have people see us in a different way, he didn't like that. Then I was like, you know what? I had a school play in the 11th grade and I had to kiss a boy on stage. I didn't even tell my dad to come. So I was like, just make sure to come. And he started laughing. But I was like, yeah, my mom, my sister, my brother saw me kiss a dude on stage who was actually like my first boyfriend. And like technically like first real kiss too. Because I was a late bloomer for real. Well, I guess that's not late for Desi people, but like late for white people. White people be fucking at the 8th grade. And it's really weird. Crazy. I was like, how'd you even know? My brothers and my sister was like a really good Desi girl. She did everything by the book. So in fact, I'm like the bad one. But my brothers really fucking did shit that like helped me in a sense. But we all kind of have our own icebergs. And I don't know if this is similar in yours because you guys are all boys. So it's a little bit like if just Meet does something and kind of chips away at it, like is it chill for the rest of them? Are they more accepting of certain things?
I think so. I think me and my Jagdeep, like, who's like a year younger than me, we had to chip the most
together, and then
Anmol just coasted through, you know,
ski mask, bikini girls. But with me, like, I feel like I kind of had to chip my own thing because I'm a girl. But my brothers, like, they dated, they had girlfriends. They had girlfriends that were not Punjabi. One was Muslim, which was a big deal at the time, and like. My brother who passed away, he was dating a Muslim girl. And like after he passed, my parents just had a new lens on life and like understanding. So they were like accepting of her. She reminded them of Jason. So they had this perception. But like at the end of the day, they still would want me to marry an Indian guy that's Jat Sikh Punjabi. They care about that. But at the same time, like they have like this understanding, this like seed has been planted. And then my other brother, he had girlfriends high school and he married an Italian girl, and that's the first interracial marriage in our entire family. So like you have a half white, half Indian cousin, right? The one you base Neil's character off of. Like that must have been huge for you guys to eat, or is that like the only?
That was huge. That was like in the 60s.
That's
that
crazy.
he like married her, and they're like they were born in the 70s, dude. Like it was like another.
Wait, who's born in the 70s? Your cousin?
My cousins, yeah.
Oh,
Like 60s and 70s.
the cousin that's Ahmed's character.
Yeah,
you know?
he's like
actually a
50 plus.
lot older.
He's way older, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, so he grew up.
That's crazy. Like, can you talk more about that relationship, or like how like your parents or your dad and like did they accept that, or like
it's wild to me because I'm like, if I brought home like it would be such a big deal, but like
it's like your brother.
my mamaji was like just.
Oh, it's your mom's brother.
My mom's eldest brother who passed away recently, but he was like literally so well educated. He was like a doctor, PhD, came here on a scholarship, came here on a boat in the 60s, went to University of Guelph, like brought the reason I'm here, the reason any of my family's here is because he came in the 60s and then he started bringing people over.
Oh, wow.
So that's like the roots, the origin.
They
so
came from India? No.
He came by himself from India. Came to
Toronto.
To University of Guelph.
No, like West Coast traveling? Because I know like the Komogata Maru and
all. No, he went straight. I think he went straight.
Because in the 60s, probably people were already in those places.
There's like photos of him on like below deck, like hanging out with crew, and they're doing Bangaran Vasaki. Like it's like the craziest story. And then he met his wife Judith in the 60s, and then
in college.
And they fell in love, and then
love marriage.
They were just good, and I hear stories and snippets like of how big of a deal it is, how scandal is. But he was just like, I'm gonna do it. This is my wife. I love her. I'm gonna do it, and he did it. I guess people had to be cool with it, but he was like the eldest. He's like second or third eldest. And then out of 10 siblings.
He's really pushing the culture
forward. He pushed the culture so much forward. So I just feel like that was, and they grew up in Guelph as well, where I grew up. And I just was raised, like they're my older cousins, but they used to take us to like movies, the arcade, the mall. And I just remember hanging out with my older cousins a lot. Like Paul, Kieran, Sheila, that's who they are. And I felt like I grew and learned so much by hanging out with them and was exposed to like like my cousin Paul was like played tabla, but he's also a rocker. He listened to like metal and rock and an electric guitar, and so
we have like very similar.
We do. So I like love rock. I love like indie. I love.
Our taste is eclectic.
Yeah, like I love
like
psychedelic rock. Yeah,
it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. And so I got that because I know I got that from them, but I also learned Indian classical music and psychedelic rock and Indian classical is like so
maybe because they were like dude, that's wild because that's so ahead.
But he pushed culture forward, and I think just growing up with that, it was like a little normalized for me. Still not really. My dad's side of the family, my grandma was like very traditional, very like no, you can't. Everybody has to wear a bug. Nobody does it. Like my grandfather taught us how to read and write Punjabi, like Panj Baniyan Path when I was younger, like learning that off by heart, like. And I feel like I was embedded, and then we did Kirtan when we were younger. So it's like all those things like I've been embedded with, and now but then I also just by being exposed to so many different cultures and people and
just
ideas, being in Canada, I have like a unique lens onto like Sikhi or Gurbani or like Kirtan or Tabla or Indian classical. I just have like such a unique, I feel, it's not unique to only me, but I feel like a lot of people might have this, but I have a specific appreciation and lens on these things where I'm like, yeah, it's not a big deal. Like in Gurbani, it just says like we're all one people. We all like have the light of Allah, you know, like it says Avare Allah Nur Baya Kudrat Ke Sab Bande, we're all like everybody's the same. And so it's like those principles, and you start picking up on, you're like, oh yeah, like Guru Nanak was a chill ass dude. He just like,
well, half these people that changed it were like people who wanted to implement like weird rules or like these cultural things that weren't really part of their religion.
I think people get so attached to their identity, and then they try to like make it as rigid as possible, and so you don't step outside those boundaries, so that it becomes like it doesn't allow room for evolving as much. But I think it's also like there's a preservation aspect to it as well. So it's all like mixed and mingled, and then sometimes that part of it just becomes so rigid. And I think, I don't know. It might work for some people, but I don't think it's also healthy for everyone. Specifically artists. Artists are always just like need to do their own thing. And
you need to. And I feel like the weight of I feel like we put on these capes that are like my culture, my ancestry, my identity, my family name, like I'm going to put us on the map, but I'm also going to do what my plan is, which is like this modern day diaspora child who believes in whatever the fuck, right? And we wear those capes, and it's like, I feel like that was kind of like unnecessary weight that I put on my own shoulders now that I'm come to this age where I feel like sometimes things don't work out or like my opinion changes, and I feel like I've put so much pressure on myself to be this like person who's changing the game
Yeah.
that sometimes I don't even want that pressure anymore.
I know.
And I regret that I even wanted to force myself to do that and just wish that my artistry led me there. But like sometimes that pressure of wanting to be the person who changes it
makes you do stuff that's like also way out of your comfort zone, way too extreme, just because you want to push it so much forward.
And like,
It's like, would we do that if we didn't have that pressure? I think is like also such an interesting question.
Yeah, if our parents were just fully okay with us just doing whatever we wanted and like accepting of that, would we be pushing as much as we need to? I don't know.
Or would we be pushing in different ways? Or are we meant to be pushing the way we are because we were born into these bodies and we have to do that? You know, it's like if you weren't making art, like I couldn't not do what I'm doing. Like I went to school for like pre-med. I was like, I cannot do it. Like
That's wild. I didn't even know that version of you.
Yeah. I was just like, I just can't do it. It's just not in me. Like I absolutely cannot do it. So I just feel like, I don't know. We're just meant to do this, as scary as it is. We just have to keep lighting ourselves on fire and just.
I think that's what we've learned in the last few days is like, you got to set yourself on fire if you want to change the game, and it's scary. And a lot of people who think they're pushing the culture forward are just playing the game to what they need to build clout or whatever.
Yeah, or like keep a certain amount of favorability towards them. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I think people sense what is like, if you're really trying to be as authentic and raw as possible, and if you're just trying to play the, oh, I'm this and the politician of it all. I don't know. I just think it's like,
we ain't no politicians. We some politicians.
Politician.
Is it fuck J. Cole? Yeah, I think it's fuck J. Cole. I eventually would love to like fully be my authentic self, but I think it takes time, and I think I need to be cool with who I am first. And I think I thought I was a certain way, and now that I'm at a certain age, I'm like, oh wait, I'm actually way more traditional.
But does that just come with like age? I don't know. Like, are we just like, every age has like you have like a certain zest, a certain whatever vibe to you that like you're always carrying. I just feel like, I'm not like the way I was 25. Like I can't even like pick up the phone and be like, hey, what's up, guys? But before I used to be like, yo, what's up? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I can't even like, I cringe at just like the idea of like picking up my phone and do that. But maybe 10 years from now, I'll be like, it's chill. I'm going to start doing that again. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm always.
Because people want that from you.
I know people want that from me.
They want so much from you. And it's like, leave him alone. Let him do what he wants to do. And you'll be happy with what you get. And that's what people need to understand with artists. It's a fucking privilege to get the art. And so don't ask and beg and bully these artists. Like, literally, you have so many artists talking about these, like, fan to artist dynamics that are just so abrasive now with the internet and people getting access to you via Instagram and Twitter, and like you have like Cameo and you have all these things where it's like these people feel so entitled. And I think people need to walk away with understanding that like you took 5 years away, took a pause, wrote a fucking show, came back, elevated your skill set, your artistry, and they need to just respect that and understand that you're your own individual. So this is my own PSA for you guys to fucking just stop being weird.
I think it's a process. I think if you watch my earlier YouTube videos, you would have seen, then the later ones, you would have seen how much better it got in like writing, production, quality, all that stuff. Like, it just takes time. Like, I think, especially first season, I felt a lot of, I didn't get to fully make it the way I had visioned it in my head. Like that gap was still pretty big. Like what I wanted in my head to what actually came out. You had to build
the world and like there's
rules and time and budget, and so it's like, obviously, if I had more time, more budget, more whatever, like, it would have gone closer to the version that I wanted in my head. But I couldn't. And so then going to season 2, I was like, okay, I understand where some of these gaps were. Like, how do I fill them? How do I make this quicker? And so I feel like season 2 is a little more like that gap is closing from like what is envisioned in my head to like what I want the show to be. It's like season 1, if this is like the 100%, it's like season 1 was here. This is like the idea. And then like season 2 is like getting here. It's like my goal is just to like bridge the gap and just fully get what I want. Because on YouTube, I felt like for the most part, like what I envisioned in my head and what I put on YouTube was like around
there was like
here.
A format people were like expecting, and you provided. You actually kind of like created the format that you were serving. And people were like, we want that every time.
People still want it. People still are.
People
in my
are
DMs,
begging.
like,
People are begging me. I post
show's
anything.
cool. Go back on YouTube. They'll go back. I'm like,
They'll reply. They'll be like,
what am I gonna
yes.
do? Like, they see parents and like,
No, you know
like,
how
you know
many
what I mean?
people
I'm like,
have copied and bit his style to do that now? You got little
Oh.
like minions doing it. We don't need to do that. But you
but
know
that's
what we
cool.
are gonna
That's
do?
cool that there's like so many people that are were
Yeah.
inspired by. I was inspired by people. I was inspired by like so many.
Yeah, but no one was
comedians that
doing
I
it at the
like.
time. Like, there's a few names that like you
Yeah.
and a few other people were doing it, but like
But I mean, like my sense of humor and like the way I write and all these things was inspired by because I watched other comedians doing stuff. Like I was huge on the Chappelle Show. I love the Chappelle Show. Like, that was like such a huge influence for me. I mean, like Tim and Eric, awesome show. Any Adult Swim type weird, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, like Tom Goes to Mirror. All these like weird shows like inspired a
yeah,
lot
your
of.
taste was very
Yeah, my taste was like very.
on the nose
Yeah.
of like the comedy you aspire to be, and I think you
And
nailed it.
early internet humor. I was like
Yeah.
on early internet humor, being like on all these like weird comedy sketch websites all the time, just like soaking it in. And so, yeah, I was just lucky to like go through that and learn through that. But I also just gravitated towards stuff that I like. And then I was like, yo, I feel like I can do the comedy that I like. And I know what is funny. I can like tell my story through the lens of what I think is funny also.
No,
So.
I'm so happy with seeing the episode 3. Like that was so good with like your directing, you wrote it. We all know the story when you watch it, you know, it was a moment in time and then you see it unfold in your lens, and I'm just like so proud as a friend and as like a, you know, story editor in the room.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get to see the shoot. I didn't get to see all these things. Like to see it come out the way that
You
I
saw the
saw
raw birth of
I
it.
saw the seed being planted and
Yeah.
like us speaking of these anecdotes that
Yeah.
like now is on the silver screen, and it's so amazing. And I can't wait for season 3 because it's gotta be. And
Dude, I'm excited.
I'm
Yeah,
coming back.
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
fucking be
man.
like,
Yeah,
I'm
man. No,
ready.
you coming back? Yeah, I don't
And I
know.
think it'll get, you know, like that line you had, it'll
Yeah,
get there. And I
for
think
sure.
that everything does take time, and this is your first show, and it's a transition from this one medium to another. And I think you're killing it. I'm so excited
you.
to be a part of it. I'm so happy that like we get a chance to be, you know, in the crib, Horsey's house.
Horses, I think you're killing it, dude. I feel like since the day I met you, wearing the camera on pig dress at your cousin's wedding, I was just like, who is this girl? You're just like,
I was drinking triple Crown and Cokes because I
Dude.
was so nervous to be around people I didn't know, and I felt so weird compared to the Daisies in
Yeah.
Toronto that I was like, let me get so fucked up and then spit bars about my pussy, having
it
flippers.
was the funniest thing.
And then I met him.
Everybody on the boat was like, yo, who
This
is
girl, you gotta
weirdo?
throw her off.
And I was just like, yo, who is this? I'm
He
down.
saw me and he
Yeah, I
was like, this weirdo, let's.
and we just started cracking jokes. I'm like, yo, this girl's hilarious. And then we just became.
Yeah, no, I love
Boys.
ripping. I love when like me, you, Raj link up and we just rip.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
I don't need coffee. I don't
Yeah.
need a drink.
Yeah.
I don't need a joint. I'm just like lit as fuck.
Yeah.
Just off of like our humor.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful for the friendship. And I'm so
I'm
thankful
thankful
for
for
you doing whatever
your
you do,
friendship.
because regardless of like what you put online, like our actual friendship and the phone calls we have
Yeah.
and how
You're my
in-depth
like
we
legit
go.
therapist. One of my. I have a therapist, and then I
Bro,
have you. who's
I gotta
also
start
my
charging then because I'm broke. No, look at this house. No, just kidding. Anyways, thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thanks.
And
This was
thanks for
great.
hanging. Well,
Shout out to Bill
cheers.
Pawar.
Shout out to Bill
Cheers.
and Pinky.
Shout out to Billy and Pinky.
We love you and thank you.